A couple of months ago, while house-sitting and dog-sitting for my parents, I had an eerie feeling. As an obsessive ID channel watcher and a younger female, I initially brushed it off as paranoia. During those few days, whenever I took the dog out, he suddenly began sniffing areas he'd never sniffed before, particularly under each of our windows. Thankfully, it was because of him that I discovered two large footprints under a window that looks directly into our living room. Around the same time, about 2 months ago, I noticed a man walking up and down our street, someone I'd never seen before in my life. This is a small Midwestern town, after all. He also had, in my opinion, odd mannerisms. Prolonged eye contact, continued staring, and craning his neck as he walked by. He never returned my smiles, hellos, or waves. Eventually, I became irritated both by how creeped out I was and the eerie feeling in general and decided to wave at him. Upon receiving no acknowledgement other than a cold stare, I got up and acted like I was going to follow him down the street. That made him walk faster and turn a sudden corner. I never saw him again. Now, today, I helped my parents by picking up their dog from the groomers. It's right up the street in a safe suburban area. Oftentimes, I don't walk while running errands in town. When I returned home with the dog, I had an unexplained, horrible feeling the minute I walked in the door. Something, maybe a blanket seemed misplaced. Something was off. I threw a load of laundry on in the basement and quickly stood up, looking around. Nobody there. Then I proceeded to the bathroom to check my makeup. Right then, I looked down. To my left hand there was feces in the toilet, with no toilet paper and not even flushed. I'd been the only one home all morning. I immediately threw back the shower curtain, my hands shaking probably from adrenaline. When nothing was there, I closed the bathroom door and locked myself inside. I called dispatch, and they arrived in less than 2 minutes. They searched the entire property, even making me check my laptop to see if any recent search history wasn't. My own interesting. They also checked the fridge to see if food was missing. All valuables were accounted for. I know that the mess in the toilet wasn't from me, and no one in my family would go number 2 and not use toilet paper or flush. I know someone has been there. Yet, because I love horror movies and the ID channel, they think I'm crazy. This won't be as creepy as most of the stories here, but it's something that horrified me to my core when it happened. Back in my late teens in Dublin, Ireland, I used to go to a particular nightclub every single week. I got to know most of the regulars so well that I could sit at any table and recognize at least a few people. One night, I was introduced to a new woman, someone no one really knew well. I said hello, made polite but short conversation, and then went about my night as usual, dancing and drinking. Nothing strange happened in the club. At the end of the night, I left a little earlier than my friends because I lived far outside the city. I took an expensive taxi home, crawled into bed, and fell into a deep sleep. I woke up to sunlight streaming into my room. I immediately knew something was wrong. There was too much weight on the bed. I spun around and looked. Down to the foot of the bed. There she was, the woman from the night before, sitting at the edge of my bed, staring at me with wide, unblinking eyes and a weird, devoted smile. It was horrifying. I had no idea what to say, so I said nothing. Her expression wasn't lustful, it was obsessive, unhinged, like something out of a horror movie. I know some guys might fantasize about a random woman appearing in their bedroom, but this wasn't thrilling. It was terrifying. Somehow, I managed to get up, get dressed, and summon enough courage to turn to her and say, "You are leaving now." Then I marched her out of the house, telling her buses left from the end of the road every half hour. She left without a word. Later, after talking to friends and family, I pieced together what had happened. After I left the club, she'd tried to catch up to me, but lost me in the crowd. She went back to the club, asked around until someone gave her the rough area I lived in, took a taxi there, and then knocked on random doors, waking up neighbors, until one of them told her exactly where I lived. Then she lied to my sister, claiming I'd been expecting her. My sister, pissed off at being woken up, let her in. From there, the woman made her way to my room and sat there, watching me sleep, for who knows how long. Turns out, almost nobody at the club actually knew her. We all assumed someone must have invited her, but no one came forward. What really spooks me, if she'd wanted to hurt me, she could have, easily. She found her way into my family's house, into my bedroom. I'm shuddering just thinking about it. I live in a small town and work in a neighboring one. Last night, I got off work around 10:30, feeling pretty good since I had Easter off. I planned to hit Walmart, but stopped at a closer gas station. First I had their rewards card. After all, now, in a small town like mine, there's not much to do, especially if you're between 15 and 20. For generations, teens here have spent Friday and Saturday nights driving from AutoZone down 3rd Street about 5 blocks, turning onto South Main, cruising to more blocks, looping around the pawn shop parking lot, and driving back. It's boring, but it's the only legal entertainment around. So I paid for my gas inside and noticed a woman standing near the door, glaring out the window. I didn't think much of it until I walked back outside. The night was nice, so the drag was still alive with a few cars. AutoZone's lot across the street was packed with parked cars full of kids my age or younger. A pickup truck at the pump next to mine had high school boys minding their own business, grabbing gas and snacks. Then my chill mood evaporated. The same angry woman from inside stormed up and started screaming in my face. I'm pretty sure I felt her spit hit me. Get your ass home. I'm tired of all you dumb kids driving around at night. Get the heck out of here. She was loud enough that even the rowdy guys in the pickup fell silent. Oh, and she also told me to stop having sex and being a underscore, which was extra weird since I'm a virgin. She kept ranting about disrespectful teenagers, and since I'd just clocked out of work, my brain was fried. I just blankly stared until my gas pump clicked off. $13 of gas later, she was still screaming, now sweating and breathing heavy. And as a fellow not exactly skinny person, I could tell her size was not helping her stamina. My mouth hung open as I pulled the nozzle out. The only response I could muster, ma'am, I'm 20. I just got off work. I'm getting gas. This somehow made her even angrier. She tried to step closer, already way too close, when the boys in the pickup lost it. Hey lady, I'm 17. The driver yelled. Suddenly, all 4 boys now out of the truck joined in, shouting their ages. The crazy lady, now with multiple underage targets, sprinted after them. Boys shrieked and laughed, dodging her around the truck like it was a messed-up game of tag. I thought, screw this, and climbed into my truck. The pickup driver, still in his seat, looked at me like, now what? I motioned for him to go. He honked, yelling for his friends to jump in the bed. 3 made it except the biggest kid, who I think said he was 16. The old lady had grabbed his shirt and wasn't letting go. I started to drive off but stopped when I heard him yelling, let me go. The other guys told her to screw off, but she dug her nails into his arm with one hand and tried to shove him to the ground with the other. Of course, this was the one night cops weren't patrolling. I climbed out, muttering, no, 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 already, dreading having to save a kid barely younger than me from a deranged woman. Thankfully, the group across the street noticed and started heckling her. She finally let go of the 16-year-old and hobbled toward the curb. The kid scrambled free, an idol built, an adrenaline pump checked him over before shoving him into the cab. Leave now, I said in my best mom voice. The driver nodded. The other boys kept yelling about the crazy underscore while the 16-year-old fought back tears. The truck peeled out, and I booked it to my own ride just as the lady turned back toward me. I started my truck, drove around her, and yelled, "Geo, screw yourself." Then, out of pure spite, I joined the drag. 2 loops later, I spotted her still on the gas station corner, arms crossed, flipping off every teenager who passed. On my 3rd pass, she was gone. Had she gone home? Worse, she'd marched into the AutoZone parking lot and was screaming at some girl until a guy stepped between them. I paused to watch, relieved to see them handling it. And by handling it, I mean harassing her back. One dude on a repurposed scooter cart kept doing donuts around her like she was the world's angry traffic cone. Eventually, I pulled over and talked to the group. The scooter guy was hilarious. Turns out, the lady finally gave up and trudged into the darkness behind the gas station. I pointed out that the houses back there are meth heads central. The whole group agreed. She was definitely on something. Ended up hanging with them the rest of the night. Chill people. Never saw the pickup boys again, though. I just hope that 16-year-old kid wasn't too traumatized. This happened last night. My friends and I were hanging out after what had already been a hectic afternoon, but that's another story. It was a relatively warm evening, so we decided to take our usual walk around town. Our group consisted of 2 15-year-olds and 4 16-year-olds, one just a month away from 17. We walked these streets often enough that we'd feel safe alone, let alone in a group. We'd been walking for over an hour, following our regular route to the ice cream shop, the farthest point from our meeting spot, and we're now halfway home, approaching a 4-way intersection by Dunkin' Donuts. We were laughing about something stupid when suddenly, wait, stop, wait. A woman across the street was screaming at us. She looked borderline old, late 40s to mid-50s, and then she did something insane. She ran through traffic to get to us. Every instinct told us to turn around, but home was in her direction. As we reached the intersection, she caught up to us, panting. "Oh, good. You're all teenagers. Will you come to our concert later? We have 4 bands. It's teenager music. Free pizza, snacks like brownies and cookies. We even have a popcorn machine." Needless to say, we were disconcerted. We tried to politely decline. "It's getting dark. We're heading home." She wouldn't let us finish. When one friend said she didn't like that type of music, the lady backtracked. "It's all kinds of music. You'll love it. If you don't, you can walk right out. It's just a mile up that street. Come on. You'll fit right in." Then she tried to physically steer us toward the direction of this supposed concert. First major red flag. We were all extremely uncomfortable, but trying to laugh it off. My cousin, quick thinking, called someone impressive given our town's terrible service. "Hello. Yeah, we're on our way back. We'll be there in a few minutes." Then, to the lady, "Sorry, my dad's calling." The woman ignored this entirely. By now, the sun was nearly set. We were desperate to leave. Another friend tried. "We have to ask our parents first." Her response chilled me. "No, don't tell your parents. It's only half a mile up that road. You all have cell phones. Call them on the way." We froze. Everyone stared at Duncan like we could teleport there with sheer willpower. "Don't worry. It's in a church. Nothing bad can happen to you," she insisted. Nervous laughter. Muffled "no thanks." "It's on until 9 o'clock. We'll be there in half an hour." Then the creepiest part, she waved across the street. Another woman, white-haired, definitely older, and 2 kids in matching yellow t-shirts came running over, dead. The kids looked miserable, like hostages forced to participate. "These guys are coming. They don't know anybody." the First Lady announced. The older woman added cheerfully, "They don't know anybody." Perfect. That was our cue. We bolted across the crosswalk to Duncan, giving false assurances we'd maybe go later. Inside, surrounded by people, we finally felt safe. I'll be telling this story for months. I grew up living with my mother and sister, fairly normal childhood, living in a small town in the UK. I never knew my dad. All I knew from what my mother told me was that he was a bad man. I first met him when I was around 10 years old. It was all confusing. I don't really remember everything, but I think they had started to see each other again. They saw each other on and off for a few months, and then he would disappear. This carried on throughout my teens, up until I was around 15 years old. He started to get quite aggressive, and she refused to see him anymore. My mother never told me when. I was younger, but he used to beat her to an inch of her life when she was pregnant with me. One afternoon he came to the door, and my mom wouldn't let him in. He tried to break the door down, shouting that he was going to burn the house down and kill us all. He didn't know I was there to witness all of this. I saw him at the front of the house with his hands to his neck, mimicking slitting our throat. That day he got arrested, and my mom got a restraining order against him. That was the last time we had heard from him until 3 years ago. I got a postcard with nothing but my name and phone number on it. I instantly recognized his messy handwriting. I thought it was odd, after about 5 years of no contact, to get a postcard from him. Obviously, I ignored it. In July 2013, my mother found the police at our door. They came with some news that was shocking, but also not at all. My grandmother went to visit my father. She is often traveling around, and it wasn't unusual to not hear from her for some weeks. But when she hadn't been heard from in 3 months, the family began to worry. The last person who had seen or heard from her was my dad. This all happened around the time I received a postcard. Her going missing had coincided with the discovery of a body around half a mile from where she was seen last. A relative identified her from a digital reconstruction of her skull, which bore a striking resemblance to her. My dad was the #1 suspect at this point. He was arrested on suspicion of her murder and later charged. The police took statements. They told us they had found evidence, and they knew it was him, but he denied all we were. Following the case, which was when the grisly details started coming out. They had an argument, and he ended up killing, dismembering, and then burying her in a shallow grave. They said she may have been alive when he dismembered her, strangely enough. His family was on his side and said he was innocent. He had later come clean about the whole thing. He said he thought she was a reptile in human skin, and he wanted to cut her open to see the reptile. He was being held in a secure psychiatric facility, but is currently in prison. He has been assessed by multiple psychiatrists who said he has paranoid schizophrenia. He was sentenced to 9 years in prison for manslaughter, not murder. I find it absolutely appalling. He has served 3 years already, so Hilbiot insists someone who has killed his own mother in cold blood and has made death threats to his own daughter will be out of prison so soon, and it absolutely terrifies me. What could possibly happen if he ever finds me or my family? I'm confused about the postcard he sent to me around the time he killed her. I don't understand how the justice system could mess up so much and let a potentially dangerous person out of prison so soon. This story is 100% true. If you don't believe me, you can Google Christopher Hill murder. So yeah, that's my messed up story about my own father.